Hi guys, we're the Jacuzzi girls,
I'm Asel.
and I'm Jania, and welcome to our show.
So today's topic is going to be friendship and friends because, well, I hope all of us have friends or at least one friend. And I think that most podcasts tend to talk a lot about relationships, but no one really talks about friendships that much. So that's something we wanted to talk about today.
Yeah, well, yeah. Hopefully, everybody has friends. Friends are a very crucial part of our lives, and we wanted to talk about certain aspects of friendship. We will touch upon 4 points. So the first being how have our friendships changed over the years. The second, the red flags we spot in friendships. What are some green flags? And lastly, what would we do better as a friend to our friends?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that something important to note is like Jani and I have been friends for a very, very long time since we were born, but we have separate friend groups.
Yeah.
We went to schools in different places. So I think we have different experiences with friends, and we also have experience being friends together. So I think that's why we wanted to do this episode as well.
Yeah. And yeah, and I would say in general, both you and I have friends that have been friends with us for many years, which is probably a good sign.
Yeah.
And friendships obviously evolve over time, but the main point is that uh, if the friendship remains, it's worth working on. Um,
100%.
so should we get on our first point?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
first point is how do you think your friendships have changed, evolved, or your views on it, even,
Should I start?
if you want to?
Okay. So for me, I would say the main thing that did change is that everybody chilled out. I think that when you're younger and you're, let's say, especially like maybe in elementary, middle school, high school, um, I think people's emotions are very high then, and you're not as emotionally aware of other people. Hence, let's say like if somebody was like one of my friends, for example, like if she, like in general. Okay, let's say if somebody is like, I really want to go to this restaurant, or for me, for example, I could not tolerate when people sat in their outside clothes on my bed in my dorm room. Like that was like a no no for me. Versus, I think with age, what happens is like, let's say like you want to go to a place. I'm like, oh, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? And I'm mostly cool with whatever happens. And I think that applies to most aspects of life, whether it's like texting a friend back soon enough or like where you're going, how you're planning a trip, what you're organizing. I think people aren't as categorical as they used to be.
Interesting. I will say I've known you a long time. I think you've definitely become very, very chill.
What? I wasn't chill before, so?
Well, I feel like I think all of us, I mean, as you said, all of us had like OCDs and like we would be very like tyrannical about it almost.
Yeah.
And now I think you're kind of like, whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah, now I'm like there's not enough energy to give out anymore.
Yeah,
Like
if you want
you
to
have to
sit,
pick your battles.
yeah, like if you want to sit on your bed in outside clothes, like it's not ideal, but like it's fine.
Exactly. And what would you say, how have your friendships changed over the years?
I think that in a weird way, I started to categorize my friends. So, and I think that helps me really as like I think that helped me chill out. You know, not have like super high expectations of everybody, not, get mad so easily or upset with somebody. So, I basically categorized my friends and this might seem kind of fucked up. But basically, I have friends that are, I would say, my best friends. I have friends that I would say are my school, uni friends. I have friends that are like friends through work and we have like a mutual interest. Um, and I think friends just with a mutual interest. So the difference is that with my best friends, I still hold them to a high standard, and I think I can. Like these are people I genuinely think will always show up for me, and I will never question that. And we just have been through so much together, and like I've been through enough that I know that they're there for me no matter what. With friends that are my friends that are through work or through a mutual interest, I don't hold them to that high of a standard, and that's okay. I think we understand, like, we're friends because, like, I don't know, we have an interest or something like that, and we meet up, we have fun. But if I'm having like a really bad situation and they're not there for me, I'm not gonna be mad. Like, like, that's not the type of friendship we have. And I think being kind of realizing who goes in what category, it really simplified my views on friendship, in my opinion.
Okay, so my question is, like, let's say in your highest category,
Yeah.
has anybody entered that you've been friends with, let's say, for like even less than a year? And where is the friendship now? Like, would you say you're still like best friends with that person, or it fizzled out since
Mm.
it blew up so quickly?
Mm. Um, that's honestly a really good question. I would say I don't have any new friends less than a year who've entered, but I really haven't gone out that much. Um,
Yeah, it's a pandemic.
yeah. Um, no. I think, like, if I don't know you long enough, you usually go in my mutual interest category. Like, we'll go out, we'll like do something fun, but I'm not gonna sit there and tell you my deepest, darkest secrets. Like, it's just not
Yeah,
that. Like, we can go have a drink and we'll have fun. We'll talk about boys and whatever, but like,
yeah,
we're not best friends.
yeah, it is true. Also, yeah, that like there are different friends for different things. Like, let's
Exactly.
say there are certain friends that you would call to go on a hike, and then there are certain friends that you would like to party with, and then there are certain ones that you do not want to party with too.
Yeah.
Now where you're like, I'm gonna avoid this at all costs.
Hmm.
And yeah, for sure, I agree. Or there are even friends who you can chill with and watch TV, and those that you really cannot do that with.
Exactly. Like, you also have friends that you can only see in groups. I think we're not gonna name names, but like, there are people like that.
I would say this about friendships changing over the years. I think that before we used to spend a lot more time with friends. Like, even I would say post college, maybe the first year or two, I
Yeah.
was it was versus now that we're like 4 years post college, I feel like everybody slowly, like over the years, it just happens naturally and gradually, where you just don't see each other as frequently as before. But everybody's cool with that because everybody's too busy like building their own lives and moving on their own trajectory.
Yeah. So actually, how you asked me if new people have entered?
Yeah.
I would say no, but old people have exited the friend group. Not because of, like, they're bad or whatever.
Oh, spicy.
I know.
Old people have left. New people not allowed.
No, it's not even just because um like, it's a rule or anything like that. It's not at all. I think old people left just because, it's like in relationships, you just kind of grow apart.
Yeah, for sure. And you might reconnect in the future.
Yeah, so like they might enter again, like if our paths cross again, for sure. But new people know, just honestly, because I haven't really met anybody that much. Like, I feel like pandemic, then, like, I don't know, just my lifestyle. As you said, like, you don't really have that much free time, so you're usually gonna be with your best friends. And I
Yeah.
think, like, you're not gonna just randomly meet new people when you have the free time. Or you see your friends that you have a mutual interest with, but not as often. Like, you meet up for a purpose, I would say. You don't just say, like, hey, I'm bored, do you want to hang out? I think that is reserved for your best friends.
100%. And you're also, I think nowadays, let's say if you're gonna meet up with friends who are just friends, you have to schedule something with them. Versus, I remember when I used to live in the same cities as my friends, would just be like, "Oh, I'm in your area. Are you in the apartment?"
Yeah.
And like, yeah, different levels of friendship for sure.
Okay, next question. What are some red flags in friends and friendships, do you think?
I feel like yours are gonna be juicier than mine, but my I would say red flag is never be in a friendship that resembles a relationship because those always end. Like they do
Oh,
not.
I think I know who you're talking about. Or obviously not saying names, but I know who you're talking about, and I think that's really juicy. Go on.
No, because I think that there's a reason why a relationship and a friendship are in different categories and they should remain that way. A friend, even the best as a friend to you, if they start acting like your boyfriend or like a significant other, where like you both are very intense in each other's lives, you start like caring a lot, and what ends up happening is that I don't not think that it's healthy, because friends, like, yes, it's really good to be close to your best friend, but there's a difference in terms of what you react to and how you react to it when you're almost in like a friendship that's like a relationship.
But can I ask? So,
Yeah.
do you think it's like a relationship that a friendship that resembles a relationship, or a friendship that resembles a toxic relationship, or it just shouldn't resemble a relationship in general?
I think that it should not represent a relationship in general.
Okay.
I can't explain it, but I've seen it happen to other people as well. And usually it's like they just become too intense of friends, and that starts resembling a relationship, and they're never going to be good. And I'll go through my second red flag, I guess, because it's like a literally such a big red flag for me. If a person is unreliable, let's say we go out together and we're out together chilling, whatever, and like I don't know you well enough, like let's say we just met, but we come to the same party together, and then you ditch me at that party and you don't say bye and you just like leave, that's a huge red flag for me.
I
That's
agree.
because I think that shows to your character that I can't rely on you in the future. In general, like a friend needs to be reliable, because how else can you build trust and security and emotions, etc. And if a friend, like I think some people are very okay with being friends with people who might flake, or like let's say at a party and then ditch and then being like, what's the big deal? For me it is, and that's just the way it's gonna go. Because I would never leave my friends in return without making sure,
Yeah.
like, are they fine, what are they
Yeah.
doing, etc.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Um, you had another one I remember that I thought was really interesting when we discussed this.
Okay, fine, I'll bring it up. I was debating if we should bring it up or not. Another red flag of mine was when a person smokes too much weed, and I'll explain why. I'm all for fun, you know me. Like I'm a party girl. I like to go out. I like to drink. This is not a secret. But there's something to do with weed. When uh, usually when a person smokes too much weed, they kind of become indifferent to everything, and they lose track of like time and space. And in return, that's how they start treating you as well, because they're like, what ends up happening is that I feel like they're like, why are you so like fucking like stressed out about this? Like it's not a big deal. They themselves are so zoned out because they smoke weed like 24/7. So they're like, yo, bro, like just chill out. Like it's gonna be fine. And I'm like, chill. But the thing is, it's like if it's a normal reaction to a normal setting that's happening. Hence, in my personal preference, I don't really prefer to spend time around people who smoke too much pot.
I've only seen it in America, and this isn't like, it's just because also like it's legal there, I guess, now, especially like people will just carry vape pens around and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think like cuz I have actually never experienced that outside of the States, but I completely agree with you. I think people who smoke too much weed, um there's just something they become a little bit not unpleasant to hang out with, but it's not. Yeah, I guess it's unpleasant because like it's not the best experience to hang out with them.
Yeah, because you're not on the same plane like level, like you're not on this in the same realm. And also, for me personally, I just don't see any use in pot myself, just because I think, I guess with alcohol at least you socialize more. With
Yeah,
a weed, I just don't really see any, like, okay, go watch your TV, stay in. But
yeah,
in terms of like in my friend group, I'd much rather have a friend who's like, oh, let's go out, than being like, oh, let's just stay in and have some weed.
yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Interesting. I honestly, because I completely agree with you, but until when we were discussing like what we should talk about next, when you said that, I didn't think about that, and I thought that
Yeah,
was a really interesting point.
and you probably, but maybe it's because, do you, like, for me personally, in my vicinity, like in out of my close friends, nobody's a pothead.
No, same.
Yeah, and that's just probably like what we choose to accept or not accept, or like
I
how
just remember
how
in
we can
uni
like
there
mesh.
the podheads when you tried to like do a project with them, not that they like smoked in front of you, but you when they came to class or to work, you could tell they were stoned, right?
Yeah.
And it was like talking to a rock. You would just be
Yeah.
like, did you do this? Or like, yeah. No, did you do it or did you not? Like, I genuinely don't know.
Yeah. I agree. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so what are some of your red flags? Let's hear them.
Mine?
Yeah.
Uh, okay, so I think I just want to preface this. These are just my, like, what I realized I dislike in people, but again, as you said, like, maybe it's just, for some people it's fine, but it's just not for me.
Yeah.
Number one for me is when a person is sketchy. And I mean that in the sense, like, not like, I
Like
don't know,
Anna Delvey
Simon or
sketchy?
Anna, like, like defrauding you. No, more like, so this is the instances. So I've had, when I was younger, I had some friends, and I'm not gonna name names, um, and there was always something off about them, and I could never, and I wanted to be friends with them because on paper they were perfect, they were cool, they were nice, like normal girls, right?
Yeah.
But when I was actually friends with them, and we're not friends anymore, by the way, but when I was friends with them, there was always something off and I couldn't pinpoint it. And then I realized they were fucking sketchy. They knew so much about me. I didn't know anything about them. Like when they would talk to you, they would listen to you not because they're so interested in your life. They would almost like you could see like they were processing and storing useful information. And when you ask them a personal question, you never got a straight answer. Even something like I remember once, like I asked this person, like, "Oh, like where did you go to school?" And this person was like, "Why do you need to know? Why are you asking me?" And I was like,
Wait,
I
so
was so taken aback. I was like, I don't know. I was just wondering. I felt sketchy, even though it's not a sketchy question. But that's what I'm saying. Like, they're very secretive. And I think, girls, as maybe guys too, I don't know, but I think we bond not because when we gossip, but when we gossip because we're basically telling each other, like, compromising information about each other. And we have this trust.
yeah.
Like, I am trusting you with my, I don't know, opinion about something or somebody, and I trust that you won't tell. And
Yeah.
similarly, when you share secrets, it bonds you, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know something about me and I'm not saying like you need to share everything. No, but I think if you have to share some things and be like a little bit vulnerable to bond, to have that, I don't know, like tipo, like I don't know, we have this thing in common. We're complicit together in a way. Like I know your secret, you know my secret. We trust each other. And with these girls, I realized I didn't know anything about them that was like bonding in that way. Um, if anything, like very personal stuff that you usually would discuss with your girlfriends, they would always evade the question or give you like really mixed answers, and you never really like. I felt like I was friends with a celebrity, but not in a good way. I felt like I'm like, who are you? Like Kim Kardashian? Like, why can't you tell me, like, I don't know, like, are you still together? I don't know, are you still dating somebody? Are you not? Like, where
Yeah.
did you go to school? Like, I don't know.
But also, don't you think? I feel like in general, it happens more maybe in like for us in our society, um, versus let's say when I'm abroad and I'm hanging out with expats, other international students, or like whoever.
I think I disagree. I think it just comes off differently. I think with expats, they're more extroverted, fun, outgoing, maybe. So
Yeah.
you feel like maybe they're sharing with you.
Yeah.
But I think they're not sharing with you as much as, like,
As much as I think.
yeah. Whereas maybe, like, at home, yeah, like, they're just more, like, just outright introverted
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
I guess at home there's other things involved. You're not the only one who's like you're not only speaking from your kind of position. There might be other people that get
Yeah.
involved.
My second red flag is people who are unenthusiastic and give you zero feedback. And what I mean is, when you're talking to somebody and you're telling somebody like a fun story or something, and they're like, cool, yeah, uh-huh.
Like they're
You
they're not
know,
invested in what you're saying.
I don't know what the hell they're interested in. And some people, might be like, oh, like some people are introverted. I don't believe that because I think I'm introverted. But I think if I'm having a like you have to be a good conversationalist. That's how I would put it. If you're a bad conversationalist, we cannot be friends. Because you can be introverted. Like I have friends who are introverts. I think I'm an introvert. But you can be a good conversationalist. Like if I tell you something, you'll be like, "Oh, interesting." You'll give me feedback and we'll go off and bounce off.
Yeah.
If I'm literally telling you something and you're like, "I don't know. Yeah, whatever."
But
It's
don't
kind of
you
like a different version of being, people who smoke too much weed. It's just like it's just unpleasant because you have to literally carry the fucking conversation. And it's exhausting.
I agree. And also, but don't you think that it's not because, let's say, they might be a bad conversationalist? I sometimes think that these kind of people are just low on energy in life, you know? Like, or
Maybe.
they might have nothing to add onto the conversation. But for me, it usually pronounces itself. I don't see it as them not being, like, let's say, interested in what I'm saying or like not being as enthusiastic. I think that they just have a low energy level.
And
And
like to
when you're
contribute.
and when you're in a friendship with somebody, let's say you and I guess we're both more introverts than extroverts, but when we do converse with a friend or whoever, we do bring our fair share of energy. So when we feel that the energy is not being exchanged in return, that drains you. It's just
Yeah.
natural to be drained by that. Like even
Yeah.
for me, like I have a friend, like if I go to lunch dinner with her, I basically talk the entire time because she doesn't have much to add on. I leave the energy like depressed, drained, everything of the sort, like because I'm like, oh my god, what was that? What just happened to me?
And you're
And
kind of like, we're probably just not clicking. And then when that
yeah,
person wants to hang out again, you're like so confused. You're like, okay.
yeah,
Again, these people aren't bad. They're just not my cup of tea.
yeah. But
Because I
but
think
these are
I
red
get
flags
drained
for
really
you.
easily. So
Yeah. So disclaimer: all of these red flags, green flags, whatever, it's our experience. Doesn't mean that everybody like is like that or whoever.
yeah,
But
if you're secretive and like, you're just low energy, that's fine. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. Just
you're just
doesn't
not gonna
mean
be our friends.
yeah, you're just not going out with us.
Oh my god.
It's fine.
Don't
Um,
worry about it, sweetie.
yeah, literally, don't worry about it. And then obviously, I think these are like, I hope most people know the obvious red flags. Like, if a girl sleeps with your boyfriend, kills your dog, stuff like that, you probably shouldn't be friends. These are just more niche.
Niche. That's like literal criminal activity. Like I feel like at that point you sue the person. Not you're not just not friends with them. You like put them to jail.
Well, I meant ours are niche.
Yeah.
Wait, I have a question. What do you
Yeah.
think? Because we've discussed this. Girls who don't have a lot of girlfriends or no girlfriends.
Oh, right, right. Yeah. So you brought it up actually. What do you think about it?
Um, I feel like I always oscillate on this question because some days I'm like, that's a huge red flag. We can't, like, that's just like something creepy and sketchy.
Yeah.
Some days I'm like, I think it's just not my type of person. Maybe they're not that bad. I don't know. I think because I'm a very girly girl, and I think you are too.
Yeah.
We have like more girl friends than guy friends.
Yeah.
So I just don't get it. Like I just don't get how you cannot have a lot of girlfriends. And I don't mean like a lot like you need to have like so many friends. I mean just like a few girlfriends who you really are close to.
I actually do agree with that. That is definitely a red flag, and I think similar to like you, like I cannot pinpoint why that is such a red flag. I think it stems from like middle school, maybe like in high school when it's like girls would be like, "Oh, I only have guy friends because girls are too much drama." Guess what? It's because you are the drama.
Yeah, I'm like
and
I no, like
and
no.
and and I do think that being friends with girls, it's an art form. Like not everybody, like as in most girls can do it, but when you cannot, I think that says more about the girl than about the rest. You know?
Yeah. What about girls who have like ever changing friends? You know how girls
Oh
like
no, that's the biggest red flag on planet Earth. That's what. Okay, so like on our next point, what I want to say is that oh well, like yeah, from
okay, that actually is a good transition probably.
okay, fine. Then do you want to read the question?
What are the green flags in friends and friendships? Let's be positive now.
Oh, yeah, let's be positive. But basically, green flags usually when I become friends with somebody, and let's say our friendship starts to develop further, just a tip, I think that we should always be paying attention to who their friends are, because you attract what you are. Pay attention to what who their friends are and how their friends behave, because that will tell you a lot about the person themselves. And so like, let's say like when you said like, oh, ever changing friends, or like somebody who cannot like have a friendship for that long, that shows to me that's an immediate red flag. And because for me, a green flag is like, let's say if I meet a friend and I see that they have friends who have been with them, like let's say longer at least than 5 years, or like they have like really good friendships, that people they care about, love, especially I would at our age, that's a green flag for me. A red flag would for me would be if the person keeps changing their friends and they're just like running away from their life or problems, whatever. I'm like, you obviously do not know how to work on a friendship long term, and that's a red flag.
I agree.
But and I guess my last green flag, I'll just say it now. I would say that like we are all complex and everybody has their own flaws. But a green flag is something like this. Not a green flag. I think it's just more about like a life fact. Um, Sometimes you will click with people and sometimes you won't. So just trust your intuition and follow that. And that's a green flag, because sometimes you might meet somebody and immediately you click. Follow that intuition through, see how it develops. Okay, what are some of your green flags?
I think
Yeah.
green flags in friendships. I think the first one, and this is something that I think is very, I don't know if it's broad or not too broad, but when I don't know if you ever have those friends who randomly, you can't pinpoint what it is, but you just feel like they're like a soulmate friend. Like you might not see them for years, but like out of the blue, sometimes they'll text you or they'll call you, and you will just talk like for hours, like no distance, no time has passed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, a green flag is when you have that connection where these things don't affect you. Like you guys change, you grow, you evolve, but every time you guys hang out, speak, whatever, nothing really changes. Like you feel
Yeah.
as comfortable with them as you did like when you saw them 3 years ago, pre-COVID or something.
Yeah.
I think to me that's a huge green flag. Another green flag is, and this is kind of what we touched upon with best friends, if I can spend like 3, 4, 5 hours with you nonstop without getting bored, without getting tired of you, doing nothing, and
Yeah.
being like entertained and having fun and just, but also doing nothing,
Yeah.
I think that's a huge green flag.
For sure.
Like,
But
you know,
I
when
think,
you literally just spend like 6 hours together doing nothing, and then you're like, that was so fun. I think that's a green flag.
yeah. But don't you think that usually happens with people later on in the friendship, not in the beginning?
I think it's very, I agree with you. Usually, yes. That's what I'm saying. I think there are certain people that for some reason you click with so much, so fast, that you can spend 6 hours with them. Like on your, I don't know, first, second hangout. Like I've had that happen and you don't even realize it. And you're like, oh, okay, so much time has passed.
Yeah, fair. And you're just having a
It's
really
just
good
very
time.
rare, I think. I think it's rare. And then my third and final, I think, green flag is when someone like who really brings up their friend, in the sense like, and I think that's something maybe we'll talk in another episode. But you know when we were saying when you're feeling super down and like you're like fuck I did this wrong I did that, like you know when you just feel shit about yourself, and
Yeah.
your friend is like I don't care what you did, what mistake you did, you are the best, like you
Yeah.
are the queen, don't listen to anybody.
Yeah.
I think
And
like when your friend really like goes to fight for you.
for sure. Or like when you defend me in
Yeah.
multiple times in my life. Oh, actually, that's a really big green flag. But that usually happens like with time. I'm a very like I would say I'm quite a loyal person. So usually expect the same from my friends, but obviously like I'm not that intense about it. Like maybe I used to be more intense. Now I'm not as intense, but I definitely like appreciate it a lot. Let's say if there's an altercation and somebody stands up for me, like Estella does, or like if something happens and I'm like, look at you, go best friend. Versus let's say like there are people who just like evaporate into thin air as soon as that happens, and like
Yeah.
I even though like I never asked for it really and I don't think about it much, when it does happen and the friend does step up for me, I'm like, look at you, beautiful human. Like, you go, shawty. It's your birthday.
Some episode we need to tell that story because I think we're
Yeah,
thinking of the same story.
we are thinking of the same story.
Yeah.
But in general, I think you're quite a loyal friend. Like if I tell you something or like I'm like, oh, I'm having this altercation with that person, you're gonna be like, they're out of our lives, Janya.
All right, that makes me feel good. I would say the same thing about you. And I
Yeah,
think something that I don't know if this is true, but you know that I think Audrey Peters said it. It's like my friends and I tend to hate or dislike the same people,
yeah,
and like there's a reason for that.
yeah. And you should trust your friend when they tell you that because sooner or later it will come out.
I think you and I usually actually dislike similar people. Like
Yeah,
we always feel an off vibe from like the same people, I think.
yeah.
What do you think about, for example, because I've had a situation where I heard my friend talk badly about somebody and I didn't really know that person at all, but it just felt wrong. So I literally called her out and I was like, I don't think it's cool.
I think that's fine. It's a conversation between you and your friend.
Yeah.
I think it depends. Like, oh, obviously, if you said brought it up in a public setting, like, I just versus. I honestly think almost everything goes if it's just you two, and I think that not as much stuff goes if there's more people involved.
Yeah, I think if you say it to the person's face,
Yeah, that's totally fine. Be like, I'm just uncomfortable with this right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, final question. What kind of friend do you think you are and what kind of friend do you want to be?
Oh, what kind of oh, I didn't know we were thinking what kind of friends we are.
I mean, I think we kind of said it now, right?
Yeah, more or less. Like, I would, I, yeah, I think we said it more or less. I mean, I want to assume that I'm a reliable friend. I'm a loyal friend. Hopefully, like, if my friend is sad, I can cheer them up, and yeah, just be there for my friend. I think that's who I am as a friend. What about you?
I want to. I mean, I want to think that I'm really loyal,
Yeah,
reliable, but fair
yeah.
in my friendships. I will say as your friend, I think you give a lot of attention and care to your close friends.
Thanks, Isol. That's so sweet.
I think
But
you devote a lot of time, attention, like quality attention.
yeah, I think I'm just the kind of person where it's like if you're my friend, I'm going to be your friend 120%. But if we're just like friends or acquaintances, like you'll be always like you will not get as much attention if at all.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm quite selective actually about who I'm friends with, like as in like long-term best friends. And yeah, Cecile, I agree with you. You are a very reliable, good friend. I like it that you always protect me,
Thanks.
like like a little safe haven.
Well,
Uh,
we'll tell this story some other time how we
yeah, how
had
about
an
our
altercation
altercation?
'cause that was pretty funny.
It was honestly like traumatizing in the moment, but I guess now it's funny.
It was drama. Couldn't stop talking about it for like a month after.
Literally, my mom was like, "Can you please stop? Like, it already happened. Like, you're saying." My mom was like, "Okay, we can recount this story in another episode."
We will for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we hope you enjoyed this episode.
Oh wait, we didn't talk about why. How do you? What do you think you should do to become a better friend?
Um,
I can go first.
okay, go.
Okay, I think that I should talk less and listen more because sometimes, let's say if I FaceTime a friend or I'm just talking to them, if I get really excited, I can just talk the entire time and not hear what the person is saying. And even when they're talking, I'm just thinking of the next thing I'm gonna say, and I'm realizing that that's like maybe it's my Gemini moon coming out, but um, yeah, I think with age, I'm really trying to like even at dinner parties and stuff, I'm really trying to kind of pull back and listen more rather than take up the conversation.
I actually would say the same thing for me.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
just so obsessed.
I think like talk less, listen more.
Yeah.
For sure.
How are we friends then, so? Or both of us just talk without hearing each other?
How are we both introverts, but also like chatterboxes?
I'm surprised that you say that you're an introvert. Actually, yeah, I can see that.
I'm an
I
extroverted introvert, I think. Like if I go out, obviously I'm chatty, but
yeah,
I can spend days at my house, like not leaving, like just like
Not
I don't
seeing
know,
a soul.
yeah, literally just like spending time alone for days on end.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think I'm an extrovert introvert. As
Yeah.
in, like, if I'm in the mood to socialize, I can definitely be very social. But if I'm not, then I can spend days in the house as well.
Yeah, I
I
think
never
you'll see me for
no.
a long time.
Also, I recharge alone, and I think that
Yeah.
shows you, are you an introvert or extrovert?
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks guys for tuning into our show. Tune in weekly for a new episode. Our next episode will be quite a fun one. It'll be
And we have a
hangover
special
related.
guest.
Yeah, we're gonna have a special guest, and we are talking everything hangovers, cures, anxiety. What was our worst? What was our worst hangover? So make sure to tune in.
Yeah, and I think you're gonna enjoy our special guest a
Yeah,
lot.
because we enjoy
All
her.
right. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Bye.